Hi, Nick Doganor, say law. We safeguard your professional license so you can get back to business. Before we get started, if you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button. Also hit the subscribe button and you'll get more content from my channel. So today we're going to be talking about nursing licenses in the great state of North Carolina, specifically the potential pitfalls of discipline on a nursing license in North Carolina. So when we're talking about discipline on a nursing license, we're talking about anything that is a public reprimand or a suspension. Technically, in their policies and procedures, they have revocation, but I have yet to see them do it. Neither has my staff. They usually will go just an extended suspension time frame. They do have in their policies and procedures for a surrender of the license. I have yet to actually see them accept a surrender, but those are all going to be kind of examples, maybe not the surrender of the license, but the suspension and the public reprimand as examples of discipline with the North Carolina Board of Nursing. There are other things that they have. They've got non-disciplinary consent order, as the name indicates, is not considered discipline. They have a private letter of concern, which, as the name indicates, is private, not considered discipline. Those, I believe I've talked about on a different channel about what those are, in addition to public reprimands. So check out the playlist that I have on the YouTube channel that's geared towards nurses. You'll have a lot more information on there, so please check that out for me. And for yourself, most importantly. So getting back to what I was talking about, like the potential pitfalls of the discipline. So with a public reprimand, there is a couple different things that the Board of Nursing does and has done for a long time. And it could be as simple as, all right, well, and I'm just throwing this out there, like say you had a fraudulent documentation issue and they want you to do 2 or 3 continuing education courses that will not count towards your overall continuing education requirement, and you got to get it done within an X amount of time frame. Usually it's 30 days from the final signing of the order by both parties, yourself as a licensee and the board's representative as well. So say that's the only requirement. You get that done, you're done, you have the public reprimand on there, and that's your discipline. Okay, obviously not ideal. You don't want any discipline on your license for the following reasons, but at least it's not a suspension. If you get a suspension, obviously there's going to be a lot of detail on there. You're going to be suspended for a certain period of time, and then you have to come back and seek reinstatement and go through that process as well. So, of the two, the lesser of two evils obviously is the public reprimand. Now, the impact of either one really depends on what the actual alleged violation was, what the findings of fact in the order are. Findings of fact are going to be what the board has found as far as the facts that led to the allegations being made in the first place. If you're going to sign something, you want to make sure that you are agreeing with what's in there. Sometimes that's a little bit easier said than done. Sometimes these boards, especially the nursing board, sometimes they'll work with you on what the findings of fact are, especially if there's something that's in dispute and it's a he said, she said, or she said, or she said, he said situation. So you want to kind of read over everything really carefully. If you can work out some findings of fact that, might not be as damaging to you, that's going to help you out further on down the road when you're looking for a job. Because at the end of the day, that's the biggest impact that you as the licensee are going to have when you have discipline on your record. So you're looking at a potential issue on getting quality employment. And I'm just being frank. You might be able to get employment. And again, this depends on the situation. If it's something relatively minor, then you're, a quality employer may still hire you. They might hire you on a probationary status or have a relatively short leash on you, but you probably be still in the pool for for being hired, especially considering that we still are on a massive nursing shortage in this state. And I don't care if you look at this video by 2030, we're probably still going to have a massive nursing shortage in North Carolina, and maybe nationally as well. But when you're looking at the level of discipline, obviously a suspension and coming off a suspension is going to be less appealing to an employer, right? Like, so that's another thing to consider. The level of discipline is going to factor into the main concern for anybody that has a license is employment, the ability to make money. That's why you have the license in the first place. Sure, hopefully you love what you do, and that's the reason you got into that profession in the first place. Hopefully you love nursing and you're like, I want to be a nurse, I love nursing. That's fantastic. We need more people like that, obviously. But at the end of the day, you got to pay your bills. So the biggest thing to consider, as far as I'm concerned, and the biggest pitfall of any sort of discipline in any profession, especially nursing, is, am I able to get employment? And if I am able to get employment, is it going to be the type of job that I want? Is it going to be with an employer that I want to work for? So going into a lot of those things, like I mentioned before, you really have to make sure that what you sign is in line with what actually happened. And if there are some things in there that aren't good for you, but it actually happened, there's really not much you can do about it other than have a hearing. And then you potentially be facing a worse penalty, and you're likely to have at least those facts in there, if not some more facts in there that come out during the course of the hearing. So you got to be careful as far as that's concerned. As far as some other potential pitfalls for nurses with discipline on their license, it's reported to the National Practitioners Data Bank, and it's going to be showing up on nurses. So again, this really goes back to the first thing I brought up as the pitfall. It's the employer is going to see it. If you are a travel nurse and you're going through like a travel agency, like an agency that does contracts for travel nurses, I have seen where they've looked at the nurses NURSYS, and they'll see through there that you have this discipline, or if they have access to National Practitioner Data Bank, they'll see it on there as well, and they'll potentially have you on an exclusion list. It really depends on if you've worked for that agency before and what your track record is with them, and also what the violation was. If you've got a track record of 5, 6, even 4, 3 years with this same agency, you've never had a problem, and then you get something minor that pops up, are they really going to put you on the exclusion list? Probably not. That's probably not likely. And then you can keep doing what you're doing as far as travel nurse. But after that, you need to be on your P's and Q's even more than what you should have been prior to that. If you are used to working in a hospital setting in critical care, with certain discipline, you really need to make sure that obviously the findings of fact are important, but also, are you on some sort of probationary status that's going to limit how many hours you could work in a set time period? Can you work 12-hour shifts? Can you work overnight? Can you even work in critical care at all? Those are things that you really have to pay attention to as well, because obviously, if you've worked in critical care, say you've worked in the NICU for the last 10 years of your career, and you get presented a public reprimand and it says you can't work in critical care for 6 months, obviously you're not working in the NICU with it, right? So that's another potential pitfall with this discipline. I have not seen them put anything in a non-disciplinary consent order that would restrict the license. I don't believe they could actually do that, to be honest with you. And even if they could, I've not seen the Board of Nursing do that, and neither has my staff. So the main pitfall is when it comes to employment. If you've got a really great rapport with your current employer, they back you up on everything, and they say, hey, this was just an honest mistake, we understand, and you clear everything with them regarding what you may enter into, and they agree to retain you, then maybe that's a really good option for you. You know, and like I said, sometimes honest mistakes happen, and the best resolution is a consent order, which would be considered discipline. But you got to understand what you're getting into on the front end, right? Because you don't want to be surprised later on. It's like, oh, I didn't know this was going to impact my potential to get a job in the future as much as it is. Like it could be. Again, it depends on the level and the severity of the allegation in the first place. So, I hope that was really helpful. As I mentioned at the beginning of the call, please check out the playlist that I have on North State Law's YouTube channel. I've got a lot of stuff for nurses on there, so make sure to check that out. I got a lot of stuff for other healthcare professionals as well, so check that out. If you can't find what you're looking for there, check out the blogs on my website. That's northstatelawfirm.com's website. And if you still can't find what you're looking for in either one of those spots, then give my office a call or a text, 919-521-8810. That's 919-521-8810, and you get a free 15-minute discovery call with a member of my staff. Thank you so much for taking care of North Carolina. I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Bye-bye.